Welcome to Bedford County Sports Talk Live, hosted by David Thomas, Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker. Brought to you by First Bank of Shelbyville. And Kincaid Service Company. Let's talk some sports. Here are your hosts, David Thomas, Bill Anderson, and Kenny Parker.
Good fall morning, chilly morning this morning. Bedford County Sports Live. In here we've got Coach Judd Dryden today because Kenny Parker's parking cars, I believe, out in Bell Buckle, and David Thomas is on assignment, as they would say. But we do have Coach Judd Dryden with us right here for the Bedford County Sports Live show. We're going to talk a little high school. We're going to talk shovel. We're going to give you all the scores and do the normal. And today's show is brought to you by Kincaid
Service
Company right here in Shelbyville and First Bank. Let's hear a break real quick, a word from our sponsors.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street today.
Welcome back to Bedford County Sports Live. I'm Bill Anderson. Coach Judd Dryden in here with you. Coach, we got some scores we're going to go over real quick. Big night of high school football everywhere. Cannon County 48, Cascade 21. So Cannon County gets the win there. Giles County beat Community 49-0. Good Pasture and Webb. Webb's had a really nice season. They beat Good Pasture 54-35.
He's got some talent.
Got some talent, and to go from where he was in a situation like you were in.
Yep.
You're kind of like an 0 for 1 for 1 and 9 and then turn it around. And a good job out there at Webb.
Absolutely.
Cookeville beats Lincoln County 31-14. That didn't surprise me. The score did, but that game was closer. It was, I think, 10-7 at the half and got out of hand maybe a little bit in the second half. But that score did kind of surprise me by that much.
Yeah, Cookeville's good this year. Coach Hennigan's done a good job up there, and so we've kind of been following them. That's getting near to where I'm from, so it's fun to watch that Upper Cumberland, see how it plays out.
And that's a long drive from Fayetteville.
It's a haul. It's a haul. So
it's a haul for us. It's even harder for them.
Yep.
Tullahoma went up to Warren County. They won 32-7 last night. Franklin County, Columbia 48, Franklin County 7. No shocker there.
No.
I kind of keep up with that other region over here, but Nolensville beat Lawson, that's the old Hillwood.
Yeah.
37-7.
Yeah.
Page over Hillsborough, not a shocker. They're awfully good, 38-0.
Yeah.
Watertown beat Grundy County last night in a barn burner, 45-44.
That score surprises me.
That surprised me too, because Grundy's better.
Yep. I think so.
But the key there was for Community might have had a chance if they could have beat Watertown to make the playoffs. That's out now because Watertown got their first region win over Grundy County. And I believe that was at Grundy County. And that was on Thursday night, actually. Centennial in the other region loses to Brentwood 20-7. And Riverdale Blackman, a bit of a surprise, 24-7 Riverdale.
Sounds like Blackman played some pretty good defense on those athletes at Riverdale. So
as we remember, Blackman gave Oakland all they wanted, didn't they?
They sure did.
You never know what's going on in Rutherford County. All right, Coach, big game we're going to talk about real quick. Shelbyville Golden Eagles 42, Lawrence County 14. Opening thoughts, what'd you think?
Overall, we played well out of the gate. We had some moments that we didn't play well. We were a little disjointed at times. It felt like just the game flow felt off at times. But overall, our guys played well, on the balance. So we were happy coming out of that game.
Well, they try an onside kick to start the game, or whatever you want to call it. I call it an onside kick. They don't get it.
Right.
You immediately take a shot. I thought your offensive coordinator called a brilliant game last night. He takes that shot, and they had to interfere. It was a touchdown.
They had to, yeah. It was William. William came off the other side, and he's just shaking his head. I'm like, well, I guess that's one way to kick things off, isn't it? And he just – so, yeah, it was but then we score took a couple plays later. So it's we go up quick.
Actually, I think we might have scored. Well, I remember it. The next. Well, I know we did. Stephen has a 42-yard touchdown run right there where he fed the ball to Bailey.
I think the first one was Bailey on the.
May have been.
Gosh, I don't remember. Like I said,
but Stephen, what a run! He gets to the outside, feeds it right there.
Yep.
First series on defense, Zion Bonner has a huge sack, but it was Palmer Edwards that provided the pressure to get it there.
Yep.
That was a big play on defense.
Again, Palmer's played well. It was nice to be able to move him back to tight end. We had a transfer that finally cleared eligibility that was able to start on the offensive line and move Palmer more into his natural position. He's played phenomenal at that inside spot. So it was a good move for us, and it will be huge for us moving forward.
And on that 42-yard run by Stephen, actually, turn time number 50 you're speaking of had a huge block that helped spring that run.
He's incredibly athletic, great mindset, and intense. I love him to death. I mean, he's been a great addition for us.
Second drive, we get it. Bailey gets rolling, runs of 7, 9, 12, and Stephen has an 11-yard run. And then I thought I was going to fall down. We throw the ball to Robert Bailey. It's a 35-yard touchdown. That got me so excited.
Yep, out of the backfield. It was. It's something that's been there.
Right.
There's been several times we've called it, but then had to bounce off of it into something else. So it's he's a great receiver out of the backfield. I mean, he's an all-around running back. I mean, he can do whatever you need him to do.
Second drive, Colt Clardy on the defensive end has another big sack. This seems to be a theme going on with pressure.
He had a great game. He's had 2 good games in a row. Last night might have been one of his best. And right out the gate, first play of the game, they cut him. And I thought, okay, let's see how he reacts to that, because when they got him, they got him. I mean, that center did a great job getting right down at knee level and sliced him in half. And he came back next snap, still continue to work through that, and that's huge for any defensive lineman, knowing that's a possibility, but continuing to work. So he ended up with a great game. He had several tackles for loss.
He did
that game too. So
next drive, we had we got behind the chains with a couple of penalties, wound up having to give the ball up, and then Lawrence County gets a big 45-yard run. On a busted play, sort of, I would call it. But then Brody Lavorne and Jackson Thiem come up with a big play again, another sack.
Yeah. And it's like I said, we're defensively now Brody, of course, as a senior leader, captain for us all year, has played well. But these sophomores and these first-year starters are really starting to come on both sides of the ball, and it's been you can tell it's been big for us.
Then we take the ball down and we get stopped again here, and we had I think on defense one time on that drive, we get down and we have a chance to kick a field goal of 52 yards.
Yep.
And it reminded you of the Alabama-Auburn game, didn't it?
Except the game wasn't on the line at the moment. As that was happening, we had it. One of our wings remembered what he was supposed to do. The other one did not remember. It was for the first time since early in the season in practice or game, we had an issue with snap to hold, and that's what created the opportunity for them. Now, give credit to Coach Marston in Lawrence County. They had a guy back ready. All we had to do is get the ball in the end zone. It was going to be a touchback. But instead, we misstrike it because of the snap hold. And one guy does cover, the other guy doesn't. And if the wing to the other side ends up getting downfield to cover like he's supposed to, it pushes it back into where everybody else is coming from. And then we have a chance. Instead, they get the seam up sideline, and I mean, good for them. I mean, it was our miscue. They took advantage of it, scored.
And then they make a gutsy call after this. It's 14-7. They onside again.
Yep.
And they get it.
Yep, they do. We misplayed it up front. We knew it was. We had a good feeling it was coming. I wasn't sure which onside kick they would come with, but we figured they would come with one. And we just misplayed it. We were in good position, everything. So that's one thing that we'll go back and address on Monday with special teams immediately is how do we, again, what are the mechanics of, of an onside kick, and how do we defend that? So
defensively, we get a big stop. We come right back and answer on offense, which was huge. But this is right in here is where Robert, I guess, tweaks his ankle.
He took a shot. It's more of a bruise, possibly. I mean, obviously he's not being. He was checked last night, so we went ahead and pulled him whenever game flow allowed us to. And of course, Nate Zimmerman comes in,
Yeah,
has
we're getting to Nate.
125 yards,
Sure.
give or take, and just look like a man-child out there running the football. And but with Robert, there's no reason to think he won't be fine for
Right.
Friday night. But it was more cautionary whenever, because game flow said we could do it. So we went ahead and pulled him, and we did tape him up for the second half, but just, as the game progressed, just there was no need. So,
Nate Zimmerman comes in and does an outstanding job running it again. But again, I thought your offensive line, Ian Matusik played the best I've seen him play all season.
Yeah.
But it was a whole group effort. I thought they all played well. There was some holes.
There were.
For anybody to go through. And Zimmerman still does a great job, but I thought this is 2 weeks in a row, the offensive line blew him off the ball.
Yes. And like I said, we talked early in the season that it was going to be a continual work in progress. The room for improvement that group had has been huge all year, and they are steadily reaching their potential for this year. I mean, when Chandler Cates now has whatever however many games we played now, 8 starts, I guess, under him. He's a midseason junior now when it comes to experience on the offensive line. Blake Lay has 5 or 6 starts, same for him. Palmer Edwards, who had been moved to guard, now back out at Y. All those reps now that he took at guard are going to do nothing more than help him at tight end in the blocking scheme and run pass protection, all that. Tanner coming back for us, or coming in, not back, is huge because he gives us another junior. He gives us another leader. He gives us a guy with a mindset that is somewhat different. It's more of a defensive. Him and Palmer bring a defensive mentality to what they do, and it shows. And Ian has played well. Caleb Smith played well last night. So
Caleb Smith played
we
well.
had a good against a better defensive line. We were able to do a lot of the same things. So that's huge for us.
Oh, absolutely huge. And we'll save the rest of it for your coach's show on Tuesday. But basically, how many interceptions did we get? Stephen had 4.
1. I believe
William
it was 4
had 1
total.
Edwards had 1, and Ransom had 1. 4 interceptions.
Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
And it's good whenever you can make a game one-sided defensively. Even though they popped a couple of runs, game flow dictated they had to start throwing the ball to try to make something happen, and we were able to take advantage. And for instance, Williams' interception. You couldn't have played and finished a coverage better than he did in that case. He got right in his hip pocket. He saw he recognized when the ball was coming in, got his body around between the receiver and the football, extended, caught it at the high point. So everything about his interception, LeBron's is just a heads up play. Stevens is a heads up play. I mean, it's just, we are getting better and better each week. And I felt like we were solid to start with on that side of the ball. But as we continue to get better, it just gives us more and more of a chance.
Palmer Edwards, it was almost like, LaVorne made the play to make the play, but it was like maybe not a pass that goes down. It was a pitch, it looked like.
Yeah.
But what a heads-up move to grab it.
Absolutely. And so I don't know if that was we'll have to go back and see if that's going to be classified as a fumble or a pick.
I believe it's got to be a pick because it didn't touch the ground.
I did too, but so we'll see.
But LaVorne made that play. He made play after play. All the guys, just phenomenal.
They did. And one thing, like Ellington Scott was frustrated all night because he wasn't making splash plays like he has been the last few weeks. And the crazy thing about it is he played a very good, steady game last night when he was in. I mean, he did not give up ground. He owned his responsibility. He did everything he was supposed to do, just wasn't, because let's be honest, he was constantly on the side of their best offensive lineman. And so the fact that he could control what he had to control and do his job makes him an asset in a game, even though he maybe had 1-2 tackles at most with no sacks, no tackles for loss. So he was frustrated, but doesn't realize how important his role was. So that I take that as a positive that these guys are wanting to make plays. They're not satisfied with just, I'm just going to do my job. I got to do my job better. And that's encouraging for me.
Absolutely. Big win there, 42-14. Now we focus as Lincoln County. To me, the playoffs start right now.
I agree.
It's playoff time, and it starts Friday night. You're playing for a region championship or a portion of the championship, however you look at it. But it's a championship game.
I
It's
agree.
playoff time.
Well, it is, and a win on Friday night guarantees a home playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
That's first and foremost. That's the first thing on the goal chart is home playoff game. So I just this morning started looking at Lincoln County. I've not looked ahead at all. It's one of the things that we preach with everybody in the program is we don't look ahead. It's cliched, that kind of thing. Everybody wants to talk about what's ahead, but we can't do it or we're not prepared for now. And if we're going to preach playing and living in a moment, then we've got to do it ourselves. So a little bit of look at them this morning. They're big up front.
Yep.
They move people. They remind me of a version of what we saw at Coffee County's offense.
I agree.
They just want to get out there, lean on
Dobbs kid's big. He's strong.
He's strong. He's good football player.
And really, their quarterback
so,
breaks his ankle in the scrimmage, and that's miraculous. The kid's come back.
Well, I agree, and testament to modern medicine and a kid's willingness to play through pain. I mean, that's everything Coach Cunningham has done down there has been great. He's built something that is, finally coming to fruition as we are all seeing it. So we're going to go down there and we know that it's going to be a dogfight. I mean, from the kickoff to the last whistle and the horn sound, it's going to be a dogfight. And we've got to be mentally, physically, emotionally prepared for everything that's going to happen in an away game.
And number one, a pretty good receiver for him, the quarterback. And 31, I believe, is the number of the kid's name's Carter. He's kind of the scat speed back. He's pretty good too.
Yep.
But the Dobbs kid played quarterback. That's where a lot of his stats came from. He played, and he still does in the Wildcat in certain situations. So you got to be aware of that too. But I think him and Robert are right up there in 5'8" rushing.
They are.
But Dobbs has a whole lot more carries than Robert does.
Oh, well, sure. And it's just like I said, the last, I guess now 4 games for us, Robert hasn't played in the second half. So there's been no need to. So it's, and then you see Nate Zimmerman's stats jump out. So, I mean, it's all about how you play the game and who you're playing and when and things like that. So it's, we've been fortunate this year with a lot of things that have gone our way. So we're pretty excited. We feel like we've got as good a chance as anybody in the region to win this thing, and make some noise in the playoffs. So we just we gotta get down to Lincoln County and we got to play and we've got to give ourselves a chance at the end of the game.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little college football here in a minute, but we're going to hear a break from our sponsors, Kincaid
Service
Company, right here in Shelbyville, and First Bank. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street today.
Welcome back in here. Bedford County Sports Live. Coach Judd Dryden, Bill Anderson with you. David Thomas is on assignment. Kenny Parker's out parking cars out in Bell Buckle at the craft fair. So we're trying to hold down the fort. Let's talk a little bit about some college football, Coach. We got some SEC games today.
There are some pretty good SEC games, man. That Texas Georgia game is going to be,
and that's a night game, right? They put it on the night.
I feel like that's either going to be an incredibly high scoring game or it's going to be a whole little to a whole little. I mean, it
could be 13-10 or 41-40.
Yeah, I agree.
Who knows?
Who knows? Second half, Georgia, Alabama, and Georgia shows up. It's going to be something. And the fact that that Kirby Smart and Sarkisian know each other so well, that's another piece to it too. So
the line surprises me. Georgia's getting 5. That's I'm surprised the line's that high.
Yeah. But it's at Texas.
At Texas.
It's a night game at Texas.
Game day's there.
Yeah, game day. So who knows? Vegas is Vegas.
Oh, yeah. Auburn's got Missouri. 4.5 point.
That's at Missouri.
That's going to be tough.
That it will be. And still there's a lot of issues at Auburn still being fixed. So
right.
I mean, it's it's hard to tell what's behind the door going on there. But man, Missouri's playing well and have been for
they sure are.
years.
South Carolina is at Oklahoma. The line's down to 1.5, and I think South Carolina's got a real shot here.
I do, but it's at Oklahoma.
True. A lot of injuries
South
for Oklahoma.
Carolina's up and down, so I don't know. It's tough. I don't know.
South Carolina's got a big boy defensive line.
They do, and so we'll have to wait and see.
And Oklahoma's been better now that they changed quarterbacks, but they've got so many injuries at receiver and other places.
Yep.
Now, the hottest team in the SEC, you probably don't want to play right now, is Texas A&M. They go to Mississippi State, and right now A&M's hot.
I don't know. I'd be worried about playing Vandy right now.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to them in a minute. Vandy's playing great, aren't they?
I am, and I hate it, but they are. I mean, it's
wonderful.
Man, it's crazy.
But A&M's playing really well.
I mean, it's A&M's another surprise, too. I think that nobody really thought they would be in the position they're in.
LSU at Arkansas, that one could be interesting too.
It could be based on based on what happened with UT there and issues there. I mean, Arkansas is going to play tough at Arkansas. They know that everything's on the line every week for them. And I don't care what anybody says. Coach Pittman's pretty dang good football.
He's
coach.
pretty good, and LSU struggles on defense.
Yeah, so we'll see.
It'll be a tight ball game. Line's 2.5. Kentucky is at Florida in the Swamp, and Florida is not favored at home again.
Yeah, I don't know. That's again, Vegas is Vegas, so I don't know. I don't know what they're seeing, what they're who knows what the algorithm says, right?
Right.
But man, Kentucky will bite you.
Yeah, they will,
and they'll do it quick. So I don't know.
Vanderbilt up here in Nashville got Ball State. Yeah. Vanderbilt's a 25-point favorite. I won the last time Vanderbilt was a 25-point favorite.
That's a great question, but it's deserved in this case, I think.
Well, I do too. They got, I think, in the top 25 where they have other receiving votes. Vandy got some votes this week. When they beat Alabama and Kentucky back to back.
Yep.
I don't want to play them right now.
No, I wouldn't either.
And that quarterback can hide the ball almost like an old wing T quarterback. Yeah. You don't know where it's at. Does he have it, not have it?
Yeah, it reminds me of Paul Johnson at Georgia Tech. It just the way they're running that football.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, now here's the game all my buddies want to talk about. I'm sure Tennessee and Alabama. Yeah. Alabama's favored by 2.
Yep.
And it comes down to me to this quarterback play.
Yeah. Now defensively, I think I would say it's going to be more on the defenses. If Tennessee's defense will show up the way that they have been most, if not all, the year, it's going to be hard on Alabama playing in Neyland and all that. So, obviously Tennessee's had some offensive issues, but I think some of that is just these incredibly high expectations that, that UT is going to score 50-plus points a game and all that, and forget that at the end of the day, we're playing SEC football. And everybody out there is a 4-star, 5-star athlete, and everybody that you got to deal with. So I don't know. I don't bet on Tennessee. So since it's my team, I won't put a wager on them at all. I'm just hoping for a great football game and a win. Give yourself
problem
a chance
I do see though is go back to the Oklahoma game when they showed you when they changed their game plan and they get physical with our receivers, and we've not shown we can get off press coverage very well. And until we show that, I think that's a problem.
And I think that's the receivers out there for UT are younger. There's not the I have not seen the injury report on Squirrel White, so I don't know. I don't know if he's playing today. I know he got pulled late in the Florida game, if I remember right, when he went out of bounds with that re-injured that shoulder. So not sure, but I mean, really, he's the only receiver in that group that's got multiple.
I'm surprised the 5-star kid. I think his name's Williams isn't playing, or Williams or Matthews.
I don't remember.
But he's the big 5-star recruit that everybody said was the best receiver on the team. Blah blah blah. But he's big and physical and can get off press coverage. And I hear you're going to see more of him today,
possibly. And of course, Brew McCoy. I mean, that it's tough too.
But the disappointing thing has been the tackle play for Tennessee on the offensive line. Yeah. That has been disappointing.
It has been. And who knows? Again, you don't know what's going on inside the the position group room. So who knows? It could be fixed this week and we may see an explosion. It could not be fixed and we may not see it. I mean, there's no telling. Again,
one thing. Heupel's offense was better when it had the tempo. When they get out of the tempo, it's not the same to me.
Right, because you're able to get in game flow, and that's where he wants to live, and so he knows what he wants to call in those situations. And when he gets out of game, when the offense gets out of flow, now all of a sudden it's everybody's kind of it becomes disjointed. So who knows?
On the other side, Alabama very fortunate to beat South Carolina. They could have, should have, maybe should have lost that game.
Yep.
But when you see Milroe having to run it 16, 17 times, that's not good for Alabama.
No, it's not, and it's not normal for Alabama. Now, of course, Kalen DeBoer's, you can't argue with how good of a football coach he is with what he did out west.
Absolutely.
But I think you're starting to see that he's not Nick Saban, and he doesn't do things the way that Nick Saban does. And most of those guys in that facility are Nick Saban guys. So I think we're starting to see some of the transition cracks happening. So that doesn't mean they're bad. Doesn't mean they won't play well. Doesn't mean so. Drew Hooker out there, don't think I'm bagging on your guys. I'm not. It's not the case. I just think we're starting to see the coaching transition have an impact.
All right, a couple other games, Miami and Louisville. That one could be interesting. It's at Louisville, line's 5. Michigan and Illinois. Illinois at home is an underdog to Michigan. I kind of see Illinois maybe pulling that off.
If I was going to place a bet, I think I'd take Illinois.
Because I just think Michigan can't throw the football. They're so one-dimensional. And then I'll just mention this because this kid impressed me. If anybody gets a chance, watch Army play football.
I love Army. I love watching Army.
That quarterback, he's unreal.
He is.
He can run it. He can throw it, and he's huge.
Yep. And he exemplifies Service Academy football. Just come up, pop you in the mouth, and let's go play ball. So, it's I love watching Army play. I'm a huge Service Academy fan.
Now, Army's really good. It's just maybe the best Army team in my lifetime. They're pretty good.
They're pretty good. Yeah. I will say that.
They're interesting to see if they can make the playoff even.
Yep.
I don't know if they can, how it's set up, but they should be able to.
They could, if they win out, they could very easily get one of that large.
And that would be interesting because if I'm one of these big schools, I don't know that I want to play on it.
Because the way they do things and how they come at you, it would be, go back to.
And they can throw the ball. He's throwing it and running. He can throw. He's got a phenomenal arm.
Go back to when, I believe, when their head coach was at Georgia Southern in – I don't remember the year now. It would have been somewhere around 2010, 11, maybe 09. Georgia Southern goes to Alabama and has 400 yards rushing against a Nick Saban Alabama team I think they may have won the national title that year. And Georgia Southern takes them for all they're worth. Yeah. And if I remember correctly, I think Nick Saban had we're never going to play a Service Academy again.
No.
Or not a Service Academy, but a triple option team. And so that it creates its own issues, and there's no doubt. And I think, too, that's what Vandy's taking advantage of, some of those same kind of concepts and schemes. So,
all right, we're going to take our last break, hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back, and we'll finish up and talk a little NFL football. We'll be back in just a minute.
Kincaid Service Company is a locally owned family business that has proudly served the Middle Tennessee area since 1934. We have a wide selection of furniture, appliances, electronics, and mattresses for every budget and design taste. We carry the brands that you know and trust, so you're sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Need financing? We have you covered. With our service department, you can rest assured that we will take care of you after the purchase. Visit our Shelbyville store at 400 Madison Street today.
Welcome back, everybody. Bedford County Sports Live. We're going to talk a little NFL football with Coach Judd Dryden real quick. Coach, there's a bunch of trades in the NFL this week.
There are. I'm glad you stay on that because I don't have the time.
Well, Devonta Adams goes to the Jets.
Yeah, I did see
for
that.
For a third-round pick, and somehow the Jets are going to eat $84 million on a 2-year deal. I don't see how you eat that kind of money with a cap the way it is. But here was the interesting one. Amari Cooper, a former Alabama Crimson Tider, traded to the Buffalo Bills for a third-round pick, and he only cost them $820,000. I think the deal was with Cooper, not with Adams, due to the money.
But, Amari Cooper going to the Bills.
That could be good.
It could be really good.
Really for Josh Allen, and that's who the Titans have. We're not going to talk about the Titans too much today because I don't think we have the snowballs, of winning that ball game. Things really going downhill for the Titans at the moment, but look at it this way. The more games we lose, the higher we are in the draft. Got to mention real quick the Packers for Kenny Parker. They're playing the Texans, and the Texans are getting 3, and the Texans are pretty good.
They're very
good. That ought to be a good football game.
Yeah, it's C.J. Stroud he's
the real deal.
He is the real deal.
Seahawks and Falcons down in Atlanta. Falcons are favored by 3. Lions and Vikings. This one ought to be a really good game. one of your better games actually to see this week. That'll about be a really good one. It's at Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm tell you what, I grew up and still a Bears fan. It hurts in one way. It hurts my heart to see those Lions playing so well. But I'll tell you what, I absolutely love Dan Campbell and
too.
everything he's done with those guys. And I mean, he is a football coach.
Yes.
There is no doubt about it. And he is not a CEO. He is not any kind of manager. He is a coach that takes care of business. And I absolutely
and they're
love
so
him.
physical.
Oh,
the physicality
you gotta
brings.
love it. So
love it. I mean, our run game's as good as anybody's.
Yep. I will turn off every game to watch them play.
Well, that ought to be a good one. I hope it's on here locally. I didn't check, but I think it is. I think it's an afternoon game. And you've got Chiefs 49ers, rematch of a Super Bowl, but neither one of these teams are as good as they've been the last couple of years to me. Neither
not
one
right now. They're
not right now anyway. And I look for the Chiefs to make a move in a trade and try to get maybe a DeAndre Hopkins or another receiver for Mahomes because he needs something.
He needs something. But there again, I mean, Andy Reid still figures out a way to score points and win football games. So what do you do?
All right, Monday night, they've got two games, the Ravens and the Buccaneers. That ought to be an interesting game. The Bucs are pretty good. I think that'll be a good game.
Yep.
And then here we go, down the live of streaming. The second game, you have to have ESPN Plus to watch it because this is the way it's fixing to trend. Yep. It's the Chargers and the Cardinals. There's going to be a time here soon where you've got to stream to watch a ball game. That's what I see coming.
It's more than likely, yeah. Unfortunately, but more than likely.
Mercy.
Too much money involved.
I agree. Well, I always thank our sponsors one more time, and it was First Bank right here, the long-time sponsor of Shelbyville Now, Bedford County Sports. I want to thank those guys. Stop in and see them for the banking needs. And Kincaid
Service
Company. Coach, you like hauling stuff off?
No.
Me neither. And at Kincaid's, they'll come get your stuff and they'll haul it off for you. Their service is their middle name. Well, it's work on what they sell. They don't just part swap you. They'll fix it. But here's the big thing. You need a washing machine, they'll come get the old one, take it off. Refrigerator, take it off. Anything that they sell, they service. Kincaid Service Company right here in Shelbyville. Coach, I'm going to see you again Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I'll see you Monday for the player interviews.
Oh, well, yeah.
And then I'll see you Tuesday for your coach's show. And then we got the Lincoln County and the playoffs start.
Yeah, they do. So we just got to have a great week preparation and go play.
You've won 8 games in a row. I love bringing that up on the road. In a row on the road. And we're going to make it 9, I hope, Friday night.
Well, Lord willing, we will.
Yes.
But, I mean, there's another team out there that doesn't want that to happen.
Because our last 2 are on the road. But I'm going to tell you, the other thing I want to say is how nice senior night was last night. Let's give kudos to everybody for getting that together. I thought that was really well done.
It was. I think we're going to start a little bit sooner from now on.
Yeah, because the game got a little bit late on the kickoff there a little bit.
We got fussed at a little bit for that. So, but it's okay.
Well, it was a really good night.
Yeah, they got
good night.
So, yeah.
All right, guys, we'll see y'all back here on Tuesday for the Judd Dryden Show. We'll see you next week.